Okay, so we're going to read scary stories. I figured out where I'm going to read my stories from. We were going to do a bunch of urban legends, but I've read 95% of the ones that are here, and I need to look deeper into the iceberg to find the actual stories for this. A little too much work that I don't want to do here on camera, so I'm going to do that tomorrow. We're going to use scary for kids, as usual, when we do these scary stories, because, they're still scary. No, disclaimer, you don't like scary things? This is not the video for you. I'd watch something else. Hi. Also, I never know what the topics of these stories are going to be about. So, usually death, killings. That's all the same thing. But, sometimes there's mention of sexual nature, so just bear with me. Scary stories, trigger warning. Don't watch this if you don't like scary things, or if you get squeamish to scary things. I got a bunch of other videos. Scary for kids, because that's where I get all my stories from. Okay, so this first one, you shush. You're getting muted now. You're done. I only had it unmuted because I'm waiting for something. But this story is called Look at Me. So this is a scary story about a teenage boy who has a creepy encounter one stormy night when his parents go out, as parents normally do. And they leave him home alone, and it's a real experience from a user named The Theater Guy. This story is also from 2019. I feel like every story starts off with either the kids left home alone or just something scary happens because someone's alone. Okay. So one evening wow. I can't read. It's okay. So one evening when I was left with, oh my God. This is my night. Okay. One evening when I was in my junior year of high school, that's what kept tripping me up. My mom and my dad went out, leaving me home alone. I had a lot of homework to do, as one does, but did he actually do it? Probably not. Spent the whole evening sitting at my desk in my bedroom. So my parents left the house around 6 o'clock. While I was doing my homework, I put my headphones on and listened to loud music. There was a big storm that night, and my desk was facing the window. I had a desk facing the window one time. I understand that. So you could see the rain and the lightning outside. Hate that. My parents got back around 11 o'clock, and when I saw the car drive up, took off my headphones. As soon as my mom opened the front door and came inside, I heard... It says I heard, but I had heard her shout my name. What on earth happened in here? She demanded in an angry voice. Ooh, someone broke in, I know it. Confused, I ran downstairs, my mother standing in the hallway with a furious look on her face. She pointed to the floor and yelled, "Was this you?" and looked down and saw that the carpet was covered in muddy footprints. If they don't look like your kids' feet, probably not your kids' feet. I have no idea how those got there, said. I spent the whole night at my desk doing my homework, as a kid should be doing. I watched as the look on her face changed from anger to confusion and then to fear. We both realized at the same time that someone else had been in the house. That should have been your first instinct when you walked in and saw the footprints, and they didn't look like your kids. I'm assuming this kid's an only child. We followed the trail of footprints, trying to make sense of the whole situation. They started at the back door, which was usually left unlocked. Stupid. And then we noticed something else. The footprints... Yeah, they started at the back door. Okay. This sentence starts, they started at the back door. We usually left it unlocked. Stupid. I say it's stupid. But then we noticed something else. The footprints started at the back door. No kidding, Sherlock. If the footprints start from the back door, I obviously already assumed they started from the back door. That's just confusing. confusing footstep. That's just a confusing sentence. Okay, but there was no trail footprints leaving through the back door. Okay, so there's a trail through, like in, so they're still in the house and there's no backtrack. All of a sudden, we heard a loud pounding noise that echoed throughout the house. Where's the dad in this? You said parents. You might have a second mom, but where's your other parent? Then the sound of the front door being wrenched open and slammed shut again. I have to Google stuff. Okay, so it basically means just to pull open suddenly or violently away from its position. So they violently pulled the door back and slammed it. I had no idea what that combination of words was. And then again, we all ran into the garage. You know what? I haven't heard from your dad this entire time. So when you say we all, where's the dad? Or the mom? I don't care, but second parent's not there. We ran into the garage, locked the door behind us. You cornered yourself. Do you have one of the... Okay. But then this leaves questions because I don't know what the garage looks like. Because our garage, it's not connected to our house, but there's a sliding door. So if you shut that, literally you don't have any other way out. And if you can open the door, the guy's going to be like, hi. But I'm assuming this is connected to their house because there's a door. So if you lock that door, do you have another door? Or is it just one area? Even still, that's stupid because they can kick the door down and get in. Or is that just me? I overthink these stories. I criticize these, but my writing's not any better. So we locked the door behind us, and my mom took out her phone and called the police. That should have been first instinct, shouldn't have it? Oh, these aren't my son's footprints. Not call the police. You assume they left, but then you saw there was no backtrack. You should have called. After what seemed like hours, a patrol car arrived with 2 police officers, a male and a female. I'm glad you can specify that. Where's your other parent? One officer stayed with us in the garage while his partner looked through the house. So one officer went to the inside of the house. Yeah, but the only window we have, and you wrote widows. The only window in our garage is up high, and the only thing high enough to reach that top part is Dad's ladder. And even so, you can't fit a person up there, and that window's stupid. It doesn't need to be there. But, so this officer walked into the house, was like, oh no, people, let me go find them. Whoa, they're in this place, it's locked. Wanna know how the police got there? Okay. So one officer stayed with us in the garage while his partner went through the house searching it room by room. They did mistake numero uno. Oh no, you're not supposed to separate. They're gonna die by Freddy schoolgirl. It doesn't even matter. And yes, I said schoolgirl. I know it's Krueger. And when she came back, the female officer told us that there was no one in the house and it was safe to go back in. Well, no, these guys aren't sleeping. I don't understand. As we were all breathing a sigh of relief, she asked, whose bedroom is upstairs on the left? My parents looked at me. It's mine, I told the officer. She asked us to follow her. As we walked through the house, we could see the trail of muddy footprints leading from the back door, through the living room, through the hallway, up the stairs, into my parents' bedroom, and then towards my room. And they stopped at my doorway. Okay, I've read this story. I'm wearing shorts. Don't even. I've read this story. Okay, true. Freddy is in people's dreams and not sleeping. But you know what? Well, Friday the 13th it. Jason Voorhees. Leatherface. Leatherface isn't from Friday the 13th. It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I know this stuff. Just, okay. So this is how the rest of this story plays out. I didn't like the story the first time I read it. Don't think I like it now. The female officer pointed at my door. It had been open the whole night. Scrawled on it in black marker was the following. Michael. Yeah. Michael doesn't have a lot. Michael Myers. He does have a last name. Yeah, Jason Voorhees. I know. 8:47. I see you. 8:53. You forgot to lock your back door. 8:59. You seem confused. 9:24. You turned around. 9:47. You looked at me. 8:15. Look at me. 10:37. Look at me. 10:49. Look at me. So for more than 2 hours, someone was standing in my doorway watching me. To this day, I still shudder shudder to think what would have happened if I had turned around. You'll see Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees. Literally, all I can think of is like Jason Voorhees just standing there being like, I see you. You're stupid. Also, lock your doors, people. I say that as that door's not locked. But, yeah. The story's called Clap Clap. I'm going to read this one. I don't think I've read this one. It takes 4 minutes to read. I took almost 10 minutes to read the last one. I really gotta stop complaining about things. Okay, so this one is from 2018. So Clap Clap is a story about a man and a woman who get lost in the mountains and come across an old cabin. So when everything holy. You hear a clap in the cabin, you run away. Okay. Also, all I can think of is what's that movie? I can't remember. Yeah, some of that was intro time though. Anyway, so one day a young married couple went hiking in the mountains. Nice. I said I would stop complaining, but they say in the mountains. Now I can picture some in the mountain walking through the rocks. That's just me. As the sun began to set, they realized they were lost. Stupid. You should have found a way of backtracking. No, but they must get lost. They must get lost so we can solve their problem. Okay. The wife was getting worried, but her husband tried to calm her down and assure her that they would eventually find their way back to the car. After walking for hours, they still had no idea where they were. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to get back to where I was before. Oh, I figured it out. Turn around, unless you took a bunch of weird wavy turns, which you didn't tell me you did. So, turn your butts around, walk the opposite direction, or walk behind you. Unless it's a wooded area, because then that I could understand. If it's a wooded area, you turn yourself around and all the trees look like trees. You should definitely find a way to backtrack. You wouldn't be in this mess. I'm just saying. So it was growing dark, and the man and the wife, why not the husband and the wife? He was a husband a second ago, so now he's just a man. Yeah, she lost her husband somewhere back there. It's just a man now. So anyway, they were desperate, and they didn't have a map or a compass. You should have both those things while you're hiking. You should have both of those. And all the trees look the same. Ooh, they are in a wooded area. I still don't sympathize with sympathy. I can't even say it. I don't sympathize with you. Just when they were about to give up, they came across a cabin in the clearing. Slenderman's in there. Slenderman's in there. The cabin looked as if it had seen better days. It was dilapidated and seemed like it hadn't been used in a long time. Do not go in there. Some of the windows were cracked and broken, and a lot of the tiles were falling off the roof. The husband knocked on the front door, but there was no response. Oh, he finally got promoted back to husband. When he turned the handle, it slowly creaked open. Inside, all they found was, oh my gosh. Okay. Inside, they found it was in a bad state of disrepair. So there was very little furniture, and the floor was covered in a thick layer of dust. First sign, we're not meant to be here? That should be a first sign. Okay. The floor was covered in a thick layer of dust. As the couple cautiously looked around, they noticed a strange atmosphere and a peculiar musty smell. Someone's dead. No. Sorry. The walls were covered from floor to ceiling with graffiti. Written in red paint were the words, death, 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 death. I kind of called that. Okay, they were written over and over. The man and the woman were unnerved. Ooh, you both got demoted. You guys are not husband and wife, man and wife. Just man and a woman. With shaking hands, the husband reached out and touched the wall. He was horrified to find the paint was not yet dry. Oh, well, you just left your prints all over that, so if someone actually died, it's your fault. Okay. The couple was very frightened, but they had nowhere else to go. They knew the mountains were dangerous at night. You stayed... Dummies. Okay. Whatever. So, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. It was dangerous at night, and there were lots of wild animals. Despite the creepy writing on the wall, they decided to stay the night. Going upstairs, they had found a moth-eaten mattress. I thought it said meth. That was covered in stains. The husband and wife wrapped themselves up in an old piece of carpet. Not one, nothing. You wrapped yourself up in a carpet? Nasty. To keep themselves warm and try to make themselves as comfortable as possible under the circumstances. They laid down together on the mattress and eventually managed to fall asleep. Sometime after midnight, I don't know. How do you know what time it is? If you know what time it is, you have a phone or a watch. So, 2018 was an uncommon for phones. So, get a phone and you didn't use it, you could call someone. Okay, so sometime after midnight, the couple was awakened by the sound of rustling. And it sounded like someone or something was moving around outside the shack. Yeah, probably the owner of the shack that you decided to stay in. Her husband listened for a while, but he didn't hear anything. He got out of bed, stupid, walked over to the window to see. What? Okay. He walked over to the window. It was too dark outside to see anything. Opening the window, he stuck his head out and said, "Who's there?" Yeah, the kid was just going to be like, "Yeah, I'm over here. Yeah, go back inside. I'm going to kill you." Yeah, because that's what they do now. Okay, there was no answer. He was about to go back to bed when... Oh my God. He was about to go to bed when his wife said, maybe it's someone who can't speak, "I hate you so much." That's why it's called clap clap. I understand now. He was about to go back. I don't know. No. The husband returned to the window and said, "If there's anyone there, clap once for yes and twice for no." I hear 2 claps. There is someone out there. Clap or no clap? Clap once, clap twice. No claps? Hey, no one's there. You hear any claps? You hear 2 claps? You're stupid. Okay, I'm sorry. Strain his ears to listen, and the crickets were chirping loudly. Hi. It's just you.
I know. I was seeing if it was me too.
And all of a sudden, he heard a loud clap. The man turned to his wife and said, "Surprised you are right. There is someone out there." Oh, God, you're dealing with a demon. He leaned out the window, and his eyes scanned the darkness. He couldn't make out anything in the pitch black. I'm surprised you guys didn't bring flashlights with you. You were ill-equipped for that hike. You shouldn't have gone. Are you the owner of this cabin? 2 claps. Are you a man? 2 claps. Are you a woman then? 2 claps. Are you human? 2 claps. How many are with you? Clap once for each person. I gotta count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And that's it was a
48. Deal with demons. The dead.
Things fell at me.
Nice. Just come on. That is so stupid. Elizabeth. I want to go hiking in the woods and find an empty cabin and sleep in the night. And then I want to stick my head out the window and ask if someone's there and have them clap.
Do we not have chocolate milk?
Why do you care about the chocolate milk right now? I'm asking you questions.
What? You have some questions?
I asked her questions. She doesn't listen. Give me a sec. We has chocolate? No.
You asked if you wanted if I took clap.
No. We're going to go hiking. Find a cabin in a clearing. We're going to go into there, wrap ourselves up in an old piece of carpet, lay on this bed, and then at midnight, when we hear a sound, I'm going to stick my head out the window, and I'm going to be like, "Are you there?" and have them clap. Like, once for yes, 2 for no. And then once they clap like 48 times to tell me there's like 48 people out there, I'm going to lose my mind, and I'm throwing you to them.
Why?
Because.
Those steaks and vees.
No, not Vihis. Vihis was the other one.
Oh. Then
This one's a different one.
don't buy it.
Well,
I'll have a husband. Dog food. Your ex-husband. Out.
trying to find something I haven't read before. I've read both of those, unfortunately. I looked at one, but this one is...
Mom and Nacho watching Scooby-Doo, but Nat's watching an episode that Mom didn't watch. But Mom, it does
I know.
hiding.
I like hiding.
Oh, you're recording.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Ben record. You freaking commented!
Yeah, I forgot. What? Oh, I thought you said I'm coming to be a bye. Like, what?
Not done.
But you were just saying weird words. I feel like being sad today.
Okay, this one is called Prison Inmate. This is supposed to be a scary story. So, Prison Inmate is a story. Yeah. A scary. I give up. I give up. Okay. No, I don't. It's a short, scary story about a murderer who comes up with a foolproof plan to escape from prison. It's based on an old episode of TV. An old episode of a TV series Alfred Hitchcock presents called The Final Escape. Nice. Let's do this. A pretty woman is serving a life sentence in prison for murder. Angry and resentful about her situation, she decides she cannot spend her life in jail. She begins plotting ways to escape from jail. She becomes good friends with one of the prison caretakers. His job is to bury any prisoners who die. So in a graveyard just outside the prison walls, whenever a prisoner dies, the caretaker rang the bell, which was heard by all prison inmates. The caretaker then took the body, put it in a casket. Next, he entered the office to fill out the death certificate before returning the casket to nail it shut. Finally, he put the casket on a wagon to take to the graveyard to bury it. Knowing this routine, the woman devised an escape plan and shared it with the caretaker. The next time the bell rang, the woman would leave her cell, sneak into the dark room where the coffins were kept. She would slip into a coffin with the dead body. While the caretaker was filling out the death certificate, the caretaker would return. He would nail it shut, take the coffin outside the prison with the woman along with the dead body, and he would bury the coffin. What? Okay. So the woman knew there was enough air for her to breathe until later in the evening when the caretaker would return to the graveyard under cover of darkness, dig up the coffin and set her free. The caretaker was reluctant to go along with this plan, but since he and the woman had become good friends over the years, he agreed to do it. The woman waited several weeks for one of the other prisoner inmates to die. Or she offed him herself. I mean, that was an option. No, it's not, but I'm just saying. One night, she was asleep in her cell when she heard the death bell ringing. She got up, picked her lock on her cell, walked down the hallway. She was nearly caught a couple times. Her heart was beating fast. She opened the door. In the darkened room where the coffins were kept, quietly got in the dark, found a coffin containing a dead body, carefully climbed into it, and pulled the lid shut and waited for the caretaker to nail it down. Soon she heard footsteps pounding a hammer in the nails. Even though she was very uncomfortable in the coffin with the dead body beneath her, she knew that with each nail she was one step closer to freedom. The coffin was lifted onto the wagon and taken into the graveyard. She could feel the coffin being lowered into the ground. She didn't make a sound until the coffin hit the bottom with a thud. Finally, she heard the dirt dropping onto the wooden coffin. She knew that it was only a matter of time until she would be free at last. After several minutes of absolute silence, she began to chuckle quietly to herself. Feeling curious, she decided to light a match to find out the identity of the dead prisoner beside her. To her horror, she discovered that she was lying on top of the dead caretaker. I saw that go in there. I think it's running out of juice. Okay. I think we'll do one more. This one's called The Elevator. Yeah, we'll read this one. I don't think I've read this one. This one's from 2015. So The Elevator is a scary short story about a young boy who has a morbid fear of elevators. Little boy, I understand. I hate elevators with a passion. Especially the creaky old elevator in his apartment building. And this is based on a horror tale by William Slater. One, I hate elevators. This would be my all-time nightmare. There was a 12-year-old boy named Martin who lived in an old apartment building. The elevator in this building was very old and very small. There was a sign on the wall that read maximum capacity 3 persons. Ever since his family moved into the apartment building, Martin had been nervous about using this elevator. Something about it scared him. Maybe it was the dim, flickering fluorescent lights in the ceiling. Maybe it was the dirty brown walls. Maybe it was the way that the door closed slowly with an ominous screech and slammed shut with a loud clang. Maybe it was the way it shuddered and creaked as it ascended, making a dull bang as it passed each floor. Oh God, that's my worst nightmare. Martin was always afraid that something would go wrong. He imagined the elevator cork suddenly snapping and causing him to plunge to his death, or the elevator getting stuck between floors, trapping himself inside, and causing him to starve to death before anyone noticed. Martin usually took the stairs. They were safer. The only problem was that where he lived was on the 17th floor. By the time he got home from school in the evening, he was completely exhausted. Take a nap, babes. Just take a nap. Why didn't you take the elevator? His father asked. Martin never answered. He was embarrassed to let his father know he was scared. I got whatever. Sometimes he would force himself to take the elevator. He just had to get used to it, he told himself. But it was no use. He didn't get used to it. He hated it. He hated being alone on the elevator. He had this irrational dread of being trapped in it for hours by himself. But it wasn't much better when there were other passengers. The elevator was so small it felt unbearably crowded and claustrophobic. One day he was taking the elevator. It stopped on the 14th floor. The doors opened with a mechanical screech, and a fat woman was standing near him. Okay. She was enormous as she waddled on. Okay, why is this the only person you describe? You didn't describe Martin. Or his father. Just he's 12 years old. He's skinny, right? I'm good. Martin was sure he felt the elevator groaning under her weight. You? Stop right there. Stop right there. You? Screw you. Okay. I want to know how small this elevator is. She was so fat that she pinned him to the corner, and he couldn't move. Okay. It's the size of a porta potty. Even then, tell me how small this elevator is, because I find that rude. I don't care. Good. He felt like he couldn't breathe. Well, screw you, kid. I don't care. I don't like this story. This story's not even about her. The fat woman stared down at him with beady eyes. Martin tried to avoid eye contact, but she kept glaring at him. It made him very uneasy. Maybe she was trying to make sure you were okay. You think about that, Bibbs? No. The elevator creaked and banged as it slowly went all the way down. 12, 11, 10. You know what? Screw you. If you were going up first, I haven't been on an elevator in a while, but if he was going to the 17th floor, it would have gone, even if it stopped on the 14th floor, it would have gone, boop, because it was the first number pushed. Anyway, Martin looked at his watch, wondering how much longer he could stand it. But if you're squished and you couldn't move, how did you get your watch? Okay, 9, 8, 7. The fat woman was still staring at him. I don't give a damn what she was doing to you. Eventually, they reached the lobby. The door opened with a screech. Martin squeezed past the fat lady and got out. It wasn't your... Okay. He could finally breathe again. He was so relieved. He ran all the way to school. Okay. So, you didn't tell me you were going to school. Did I mention the part where she got on there and he said he she pinned him to the corner and he couldn't move. He folds a flap pressed up against his face. Why is she in such great detail? I don't like this story. So, one, you didn't tell me he was going to school. I assumed he was going home. Okay, so eventually he gets out of the elevator with the fat lady. Whatever. She's the only one they describe. Screw you. He thought about her all day. Did she live in the building? He'd never seen her before. And she doesn't live there. And the building wasn't very big. 17 floors. 4 apartments on each floor. I'm bad at math. I can't do it right off the top of my head. I can, but I don't want to. 58. Shush. Don't tell them I was listening to TikTok. I think it's 58, but I might be wrong. 17 times 4. 68. I was off. Okay, 68 is still a lot of people. Okay. It seemed likely she didn't live there, but she may have only been visiting somebody. But I hate that song. But if she were only visiting someone, why was she leaving the building at 7:30 in the morning? None of your damn business. She's leaving at 7:30 in the morning. She was visiting. You do not dictate when someone visits another person. It's none of your business. None of your business, child. I hate this story. I was okay with it for a little bit. You don't get to obsess about the fat lady. You're rude. You're rude to her. People didn't usually make visits at that time of day. You missed a lot. Or if so, it was likely, it was certain that somehow he would be riding with her on the elevator again. How do you know that? Maybe she doesn't want to visit that person anymore. Okay, so in this story, this kid is definitely afraid of elevators. I understand that. I hate elevators with passion, but because he didn't want his daddy to think he was so scared, he took an elevator to get used to it. He's never going to get used to it. I hate to tell you that. But the only character in here that has been described to a T is this fat woman. I don't know why that irritates me so much, but it does. It does. Okay, so he was apprehensive, and as he approached the building after school, as he approached the building after school, period. Why should he be afraid of an old lady? She older. Okay. Why is that the part you would describe her as now? Because that's not what. Okay, I don't. Okay, I'm good. I'm okay. Why would you be afraid of an old lady? I thought she was fat. You didn't say she was old. You spent this entire time just... I love when people write their stories. I do. I love it. I love it. He was afraid of her. If he let it control him, then he was worse than the names they called him at school. Why does... Whoa, wait. If he was afraid of her, which she didn't really do anything to you, if he let it control him, then he was worse than all the names they called him at school. You are worse than them. I don't even care. He pressed the button. He stepped into the empty elevator. He stared at the lights, urging the elevator on. It stopped at 3. At least it's not 14, he told himself. The person that she was visiting was on 14. How do you know? How does he know? He doesn't. Whatever. Apparently, it's not the 14th floor, so the woman can't visit anyone else in that apartment. She's on the 14th floor. You stay at the 14th floor. Child, I can't even. Okay. The doors opened, revealing a green coat, piggish face, blue eyes, already fixed on him as though she knew he'd be there. What? Revealing a green coat, piggish face, blue eyes already fixed on him, so she was staring at the elevator. Did that offend you, sweetheart? It was impossible. It was like a nightmare, but she was massively real. Going up? He said in a voice, his voice, a humiliating squeak. She nodded, her flesh quivering. Oh, that's freaking gross. Why would you describe it like that? Ew. What would finger quivering? Oh, you can't see it. Whatever. Oh no. No. How many floors are in this place? You freaking child. Okay, she stepped on. The door slammed. He watched her pudgy hand move around the buttons. Okay. Is this the same woman? Because if it is, you got more insults for her? Oh, it is. It is the same woman. It's the same woman. Okay. It was a nightmare for him. That's all you guys need to know. Whatever. She didn't press 14, but 18. The top floor. 1 floor above his own. Okay, so the top floor. 4 more to the 68 people. That's 72. Wait a minute. We're doing some quick math. Okay, using a calculator. 72 people. There are 72 people in this place, and you don't know if she lives here. Okay, yeah, she's visiting someone, but she could very damn well live in that place. The elevator trembled, and it began to descend. And so it climbed. The fat lady watched him. He knew that she got out on the 14th floor this morning. So why was she on 3, going up to 18 now? Maybe she took some of the stairs. I hate you. The only floor he ever went to were 17 and 1. What was she doing? Had she been waiting for him? Was she riding with him on purpose? Boy, I don't think she cares that much about you, and if she is kidnapper, let her take you. But that was crazy. She had lots of friends in the building. Wait, what? Maybe she had lots of friends in this building. Yeah, thank you. Open your brain, because maybe she did live there. Or she was the cleaning lady. Child, did you see her with cleaning supplies? No, I don't think you did. Okay. So she worked for different apartments. Usually if she works for the hotel, they have stuff, and they have you carry that stuff around while you're cleaning. That's how this stuff works. That's how it all works. And even if the apartments kept their own stuff, she'd have some hint that she was a cleaning lady. She'd smell like cleaning supplies. Which is not bad. It's not a bad smell. Cleaning supplies is a good smell. Okay. She was probably a cleaning lady who worked for different apartments. That had to be it. He felt her eyes on him as he stared at the numbers, slowly blinking on and off, slower than usual, it seemed to him. Maybe the elevator was having trouble because of how heavy she was. Yeah, okay. It was supposed to carry 3 adults, but it was old. What if it got stuck between the floors? What if it fell? They were on 5 now, and it occurred to him to press 7 to get off there and walk the rest of the way. He would have done it if he could reach the buttons, but there was no room to get past her without squeezing against her, and he could not bear the thought of any physical contact with her. Okay. But she was fat enough this morning when she went on the elevator to crush you against the wall, but now there's room, but only enough room for you to squeeze by her. Screw you, I hate this story. This is supposed to be a 3-minute story. This is not a 3-minute story. It's taking me a lot longer to read this, and I think it's because I'm stopping to pause because I hate this. He'd be home soon after all. Only another minute. Hi, I'm reading a story I hate. Okay. Let me explain the story. Okay, so this is a story about a kid that is morbidly afraid of elevators. So one day, so his daddy doesn't think he's big scared. He's big strong man, May. You know, he's like 12, but he's big strong man. No, he doesn't die in the elevator. He should. I want this fat lady to crush him. Just fine. But he goes on this elevator, and this very, 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 very fat woman, big enough to kill someone apparently, crushes him against this elevator at 7:30 in the morning. Like, it's impossible that she lives on this floor and wants to use the elevator. Whatever. He gets off, goes to school, comes back, and she's on floor 3. And he has a turn about this. He's all like, no way. She just wants to ride on this elevator with me. So she gets on, and apparently she's not fat enough to squish him against the wall anymore. There's enough space, but he doesn't want to physically touch her to squeeze by to touch the buttons. Because he can't think of physically touching her. Because she's so fat and repulsive. But she must be a cleaning lady. Yeah, that's it. But whatever. She has no signs of being a cleaning lady. Apparently she's old and fat. I feel bad for this poor lady. She's the only person. Like, they don't describe this kid in very good detail, but like this fat woman, like, she has such great detail. Like, it's almost used as an insult. Like, she's so fat. Like, he could basically taste her fat.
What the hell?
Like, legit.
Did you see my comment?
So, yes. And it's irritating me because I hate how they're describing her. Because, like, it's the only way they can describe her. So she's either a demon, because that's just how the story's making it sound, or she's the cleaning lady that's going to sit on him. Either way, I'm good with either.
She does sit on him?
I want her to sit on him. You're not allowed to say I'm over dramatic. That annoys me. Does it annoy you, or is it just me? I might have you read this story later. Also, she's so fat. It's like one of those Yo Mama jokes. She's so fat that the elevator's going slower than normal. Like, it cannot hold her weight. Like, this is, like, smaller than a porta potty, but it can't hold her weight. So, like, the elevator's going so slow. It's supposed to fit 3 persons, and she's, like, 3 in her own. And, like, I bet it's a scrawny little 12-year-old's in there.
Wait, would it be going faster? Is that with the thing?
What?
Will the
No.
elevator be going faster?
No. They're going up, not down. And even so, it's still rude. Still rude. He looked at her. She was staring at him with no expression on her squashed little features. May! She has squashed little features.
They turned out to be his mother, right?
Oh God, if it's his mom, she better sit on him. Okay,
Don't snap your sons.
I'm gonna do what I want. When the elevator stopped on his floor, she barely moved out of his way. But she's supposed to be fat enough to take up this entire elevator. How do you expect her to move? Like, hi, am I? Okay. She quickly turned and watched him as the door slammed shut. What? Yeah. Now she knows I live on the 17th floor. So he goes home, he goes into his house. They don't tell you that part, but I'm going to tell you. Dad, did you ever notice a strange fat lady on the elevator? He asked his dad that evening. Can't say that I have. His father said, not looking away from the TV. He knew he was probably making a mistake, but he had to tell somebody. Well, she was on the elevator twice with me today. And the funny thing is, she kept staring at me. She never looked at me for a minute. She never stopped looking at me for a minute. You think you know anybody who has had a weird cleaning lady or something? What are you worked up on now? The father said, staring impatiently away from the TV. I'm not worked up. It was just funny. She just kept staring at me. You know how people never look at each other in an elevator? Well, she just kept staring at me. What am I going to do with you, Martin? His father shook. Honestly, now you're afraid of some poor old lady? I'm not afraid. You're afraid, said your father with total assurance. When are you going to grow up and act like a man? Are you always going to be timid all your life? Oh, screw that. I'm on both sides, but I hate that. Like, he managed not to cry until he got to his room. His father probably knew he was crying anyway. He slept very little. And the next morning, the elevator door opened. The fat lady was waiting for him. She was expecting him. She knew he lived on the 17th floor. He stood there, unable to move, and backed away. As soon as he did, her expression changed. She smiled as the door slammed. He ran for the stairs. Luckily, the unlit flight on which he fell was between 16 and 15. He only had to drag himself up 1.5 flights. I don't know, I guess so. With terrible pain in his leg, he fell. His father was silent on the way to the hospital, disappointed and annoyed with him for being such a coward and a fool. It was a simple fracture. You didn't need a wheelchair, only a cast and crutches. But he was condemned to the elevator now. Why was the fat lady? Why did she smile at me? She'd known it would happen this way. At least his father was with him on the elevator. There was no room for the fat lady to get on. And even if she did, the father would see her and he would realize how peculiar she was. And maybe he would understand. And once they got home, he could stay in the apartment for a few days. The doctor had said that he should use his leg as little as possible. A week, maybe a whole week without going on the elevator, riding up with his father, leaning on his crutches. He looked around the cubicle and felt a kind of triumph. He has beaten the elevator and the fat lady, and for the time being. At the end of the week was very far away. I almost forgot, his father said, and reached out his hand and pressed 9. I'm supposed to say press mine. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're not getting off, he asked, trying not to sound panicky. I promised Terry I'd drop it on her.
Isn't it appropriate, don't?
Are you serious? What is it?
Folly about having.
Ah! Let me go with you. I want to visit her too, Martin pleaded, struggling forward on his crutches. But the door was already closing. Afraid of being on the elevator alone, said the father with a look. Grow up, Martin. Martin hobbled to the button and pressed 9. But it didn't do any good. The elevator stopped at 10, where the fat lady was waiting for him. She moved in quickly. He was too slow and too unsteady in his crutches to walk past her in time. The door sealed them in, and the door started up. Hello, Martin, she said, and laughed, and pushed the stop button. Read the comments.
I know, one of them like, the father.
Someone's all like, lol, fat lady. So creepy.
Are you serious?
We talk about this one?
The other one.
Parents?
The one that you just read.
Yeah, lol, fat lady. Creepy.
I had to draw the hole.
What does that mean?
What? It didn't work.
Something for Kate.
Who Kate? Maybe they might. Oh. Oh. Oh.
I didn't look that up. Okay, so apparently he dies after this.
How you know that?
Oh, it's a 9-minute read. I don't like how they describe the fat lady. Oh, well. I read the comments. She killed him by sitting on him.
Tootsie, really?
No, but that's what I want to happen. Okay. It doesn't matter. I'm done with this for now. I'm gonna. And yes, I get very offended with stories of fat ladies. It's fine. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.